we as Americans are preconditioned to expect excellence and perfection from our basketball team. We dominate sports in general, but basketball is our baby.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with me today, guest hosting with me, state champion, 1/3 of Run TMG. That's special to us. G. Sumner. G, how are you doing on this taping day for Wind Up Win?
Oh man, I'm feeling good, and I just got a Run TMG reference. Thought I'd share some news with you might not be up on.
Go ahead.
The M in TMG is recently engaged as of yesterday. He might not like me dropping that spoiler, but I got to share it with you.
That's okay. If you put it on social media, it's live, and congratulations, Mike/Pokey. It's not a race, so let's hit it. All right. So in segment one, we're going to talk about FIBA, and we're number one, but it doesn't feel that way. Segment two, we're going to talk about a potentially new postseason college basketball tournament that we probably may or may not need. And in segment three, WNBA news and notes. But first, we're number one, but I don't feel number one. USA Basketball is back atop the FIBA basketball ratings, even after it failed to medal. The Americans flipped spots with Spain because they stunk up the joint too. So let's kind of talk about the top 10. US, Spain is 2, Germany's 3, Australia is 4, Canada is 5, Argentina is 6, Latvia 7, France is 8, Lithuania is 9, and I forgot somebody. So
yeah,
there are 159 men's teams. U.S. is also ranked number one in the other 3 sets of rankings, women's, boys, and girls, all by a wide margin. Any thoughts about the U.S. still being number one, but we don't feel that way?
I mean, the U.S. is number one. I can understand after failing to medal in the FIBA again, why you may say, "Oh, let's knock them off the spot." But ultimately, the U.S. is number one. We as Americans are preconditioned to expect excellence and perfection from our basketball team. We dominate sports in general, but basketball is our baby. And so to lose, yeah, we're going to be feeling away, but our roster changes annually, and when they come back with the next iteration, we all expect that they will win the tournament regardless of who is on the roster.
Well, that is an outstanding segue, because just like the Blues Brothers, they're trying to get the band back together. So we're looking at LeBron James at 39, baby, coming back for the 2024 Olympics. We're looking at Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, and Steph Curry, who doesn't even have a gold medal on his resume, Draymond Green. Do you really think, G, that they can dust these guys off and play with these young bucks across the globe? Is this something that you think they can just sprinkle, ready, fire, aim, and go? Notice I said ready, fire, aim.
I think if we sent the troops out there, a healthy and rested LeBron, along with those guys, yes, I think they could certainly go back and win the gold, bring back the gold. It would be exciting to see Steph do it, check off that last box on his career. I don't think that's needed, though. You don't need to send LeBron James and get the team that won it before out there in order to bring home the gold. Just send a big man. Send a couple shooters. Stop sending the 3rd and 4th best players from certain teams and a power forward and telling us we're going to win. That can't be done. That's how your middle of the road centers go out there and dominate us come international time.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So with that, I gotta move on. Do we really have to threaten you to play, G? The NBA Board of Governors voted unanimously last week. The fact they had to vote is pausing to approve tougher resting policies in terms of rules and punishment for star players who sit out games, including those on national television and in the new in season tournament, as well as multiple All Stars sitting out together for regular season games. Adam Silver has made this a priority. They have also made a game minimum for postseason awards. The league has gotten involved in this. Gee, I, I'm not understanding. So the NBA is going to incorporate a fine system that begins with $100,000 for the first offense, $250,000 for the second offense, and 1 million or more for third and future offenses. Tell me, G, do we really have to threaten them to play?
I mean, this is what it comes to, what it's come to. At the end of the day, all of your rule changes, whether it's mid-season tournament or any of the things they institute, is about money. So let's not confuse what the end goal here is. But I'm not gonna lie, as an avid basketball fan, this is one of those that I don't mind. The enforcement is going to become tough. All these stipulations, if he was an all-star in the last 3 years, or this and that, you can file for special exemption waivers, which we'll call the Kawhi Leonard waiver because we know he's going to qualify. But I'm not mad at it. Uh, I hate. I grew up in watching basketball when Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, all these guys, they played 82 games. Um, it was an 82 game league. And so I understand. And have you been to an NBA game in late March?
It's a ghost
You're
town.
just
You need a scorecard legitimately to know who's on the roster.
exactly. They are putting out the D League, G League elite out there, trying to get into that top three of the draft. So
Oh.
I understand the motivations behind the rule. Little curious on enforcement and how that'll go and how it's received once you start plucking into players' injury histories. Teams are just going to find other creative ways. But on the face right now, I'm not mad at it.
All right. And G brought it up, fan. So let's tell you the NBA has detailed several exceptions by which teams can seek approval. So, one, the NBA will allow pre approved designated back to back allowances for players who are 35 years old on opening night or have career workloads of 34,000 regular season minutes or 1,000 regular season and playoff games combined. The fact that you had to write that up really pauses me.
It's really just telling you LeBron can take off if he wants. That's what that means.
Second, if a team feels that a star player is unable to play in back to back games, it must provide the NBA written information at least 1 week prior explaining why the player's participation should be limited. It also says the league has also said that a team can seek approval for a star player to be unavailable for one end of a back to back on the player's prior uh, injury history. And finally, other exemptions include multi game absences for bona fide injury, personal reasons, rare and unusual circumstances, roster management of unavailable star players, and end of the season flexibility. So
What?
there you go.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right, that's crazy. Finally, in segment one, I'm paused by this story, but we're going to cover it. Houston Rockets guard Kevin Porter Jr. allegedly attacked his girlfriend at a New York City hotel, leaving the woman with a fractured neck vertebrae and a cut above her eye, prosecutors revealed in his arraignment last week. Porter's 23 and he pleaded not guilty. He was not required to end a plea during his brief court appearance. This is a serious situation. And as we are educators first and foremost, there was numerous red flags in terms of his ability to cope and deal with whatever stresses he is going through. And this is a case we will watch very, very carefully. G, I don't know if you even came across this. If you have, feel free to comment. If not, that's okay, and we'll move on. Floor is yours.
I think we begin to see Kevin Porter's downward turn starting last year. And this is probably the final kick out the door. There's not much you can do. I mean, we saw this with Miles Bridges last year. We won't see Kevin Porter on a basketball court this year. You can say not guilty all you want, and yes, you are innocent until proven guilty. But when you got 8 fingerprints around the neck and strangulation charges, not to make light of it, I mean, there's not much else we can say for you there. So he's got to work out things with the legal system within himself before he's ever ready to get back on a basketball court. So let's let this play out and see how it goes.
Well said. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a proposed new postseason tournament with media partners in college athletics. It's all about the student athlete. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast.
Why should student athletes use the CKA SAVE Project academic and athletic consulting services? Over the past 15 to 20 years, colleges, universities, professional sports teams, business organizations, and others have increased their use of consulting services to improve their decision-making processes and results. Over the same time, the athletic and academic landscape has changed for high school and college student athletes as the NCAA has raised initial academic eligibility requirements for student athletes while decreasing the number of transfer restrictions. Former college student athletes have noted that they were academic and athletically unprepared for the rigors of college. Let the CKA SAVE Project's close to 30 years of academic and athletic experience help guide student athletes to increase success as we work to help student athletes achieve the goal of obtaining a college degree. For more information, contact Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 2. Gee, is this really necessary? There is a proposed 16-team tournament that would take place in Las Vegas for teams who missed the Big Dance and didn't play in the NIT. The Big East, the Big 12, and Big 10 are in preliminary talks to potentially hold a 16-team, single-site postseason men's basketball event for teams that don't make the NCAA tournament. Sources confirmed to CBS Sports. There's no timetable on what year the event to be held in Las Vegas's T-Mobile Arena would come to fruition. The 3 conferences have been engaged in talks because of their financial relationship with a broadcast partner. They all have media rights deals with Fox Television, and Fox has been the primary driver on the discussion of the would-be tournament. If such a made-for-TV event took place, it might be the end of the NIT. The ACC and SEC are in business with ESPN, so they're kind of not involved in this. But why now? It's an effort to make money for Fox, and it would, again, compete with the NIT. Can you tell me, G, what do you think about this proposed tournament? Is this necessary?
Coach, you know what I think about this. It's a money grab. Like all of college sports right now is turning a lot of people off, whether it's realignment, transfer portal, whatever it is. It's all a ploy to grab more money. This would effectively make the NIT meaningless when you're, because the NIT does have non-Power 5 school people that enter and usually make it pretty far. Some of those schools can compete. And when we're talking about, especially with the parity that's shaped in college basketball over the past few years, there's no reason that Iona can't go out there and compete with Virginia Tech or Ole Miss or whatever team from one of these 3 conferences is going to make this tournament. We don't need it. Nobody will watch it.
I think they will watch strictly for entertainment purposes only.
I mean, let's figure out, for entertainment. If there's nothing on, then sure, you might check it out. But we're talking about March. Who's watching this with the NBA and the real tournament going on? And yeah, exactly. And we've got,
the
University
7th
of
place
South
team.
Exactly. This is what the NCAA tournament. We've got a system for this. They're already trying to expand the NCAA tournament every 3 years. We've got a reserve tournament. They brought out the CBI and all these other tournaments. What do we need another one for?
All right. So speaking of that and the money, the Dartmouth men's basketball players have become the latest college athletes to challenge the status quo in an attempt to unionize. A petition was filed with the National Labor Relations Board last week by the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, and identified 15 players from Dartmouth in seeking representation. SEIU, again, look for the union label, was listed as the petitioner with Dartmouth College and its Board of Trustees identified as the employer. The Dartmouth College spokesperson, Yana Barnello, provided a statement to the AP, Associated Press, confirming that the petition had been filed. If you recall, fans, Northwestern University's football made a bid to form a union in 2014, and I had studied the Northwestern union attempt in my doctoral work and continue to talk about the growing chasm between academics and athletics. So you, as a former player, G, as we close this segment, should they unionize? And if they should, how do you think that would work? I mean, you got players coming in and out.
I have no idea how this works. I think in this age of empowerment of the player, of the commodity, you're starting to see new and fresher ideas. And the NIL, which they're still working out, has been good for student athletes, not just football and basketball, but student athletes in general. So that has been good. We're grasping at straws trying to unionize Dartmouth sports, though. Let them get their points out. Let them have their day to argue. But much like the Northwestern bid, I think in the end, this one will end up falling short of whatever their end goal is. Which I'm still not sure of.
Who are we paying union dues to? That's always my first question.
There we go.
Whenever anybody brings up a union, which is fine. I'm a social studies teacher by trade, G. I love this stuff, but I know I got union dues to pay. I've got union reps. I got building reps. I got system reps. I got all of these reps. How's this going to look? So all of that has to be flushed out. And again, we wish them well. Go do whatever it is you feel you need to do, but that's going to be challenging. And Northwestern found it challenging. But hey, NCAA, hey, schools, you see, they're still looking for stuff, and eventually they're going to find some type of way. So please be mindful of it. But when we get back, fans, we're going to get your discussing the WNBA playoffs, plus the AP did all of their postseason awards. We'll see if it's a precursor to the WNBA postseason awards when we get right back on the iCoaches podcast.
The high school and college academic and athletic landscape is changing. The growing number of college transfers, as well as student athletes being able to profit off the use of their name, image, and likeness, has given student athletes the freedom and power to make life-changing decisions. That is why it is important for student athletes to be properly informed throughout the decision-making process. The difference between success and failure is often measured not by yards, but by inches, and even the most successful coaches and players use outside independent consultants to help improve their decision-making, which improves their results. That is what the CKA Save Project would like to do for student athletes across the country, improve their academic and athletic results. Our academic and athletic consulting services assist student athletes with the college decision-making process. The CKA team of former high school and college coaches can provide student athletes an independent assessment of their academic and athletic skills to assist student athletes in their college decision-making process. Let the CKA team evaluate your academic and athletic ability to assist you in finding the right fit for your academic and athletic career. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free virtual consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by email at cka@ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back. to the Eye Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Congratulations! The WNBA once again had strong metrics this year as the league had its most watched regular season in 21 years. If you build it, they will come. It had its highest average attendance as well since 2018. Viewership was up 21% over last season. And an expanded schedule to 40 games helped the league gain its highest total of attendance in 13 years at over 1.5 million spectators. The defending champs, the Las Vegas Aces, had the highest average attendance with over 9,000 fans per game, which was up 66% than last season. The Las Vegas Aces also hosted the highest attended game this year, drawing a crowd of 17,400 against the Phoenix Mercury. The WNBA media rights deal is up in 2025. So, any thoughts on the league's revenue and attention?
No thoughts on the revenue specifically. Happy for the attention. I've been watching women's basketball since I was 5 years old. My sister was drafted.
Put her over. Go ahead.
Kira Orr.
We're gonna break from tradition. And please tell the world who your sister is.
My sister is named Kira Orr. She was Duke basketball's, I believe, first All-American recruit. All met in 5 sports in the DC area, drafted into the inaugural year of the WNBA draft, the inaugural draft. Ended up choosing to go to the ABL, then ruptured her Achilles a couple times. So that was the end of her playing career. But I've got a soft spot for women's basketball my whole life. Have watched it more so college-centric. Haven't enjoyed the pro game as much. But that said, I've never watched more WNBA basketball than I did this year, even knowing it was a 2-horse race to start the season, which is exactly how it played out. But the product is better. It's entertaining. It'll never be, if you're looking for men's basketball, it'll never be that. But there's quality in the game. It's improving. It's no longer a 10-game season where they show up in June and then all of a sudden they're talking playoffs. It's the league. I can see real improvements, and I enjoy it, despite the lack of parity.
And on the show, you have heard us complain that we do need more than 12 teams. There's only 144 players in the league. It is the hardest league to get in. So we need to do something. Don't get us started on travel. That'll get Coach Adams off on a tangent. The WNBA named its Executive of the Year, which happened to be New York Liberty's general manager, Jonathan Kolb. The New York Liberty won its in-season tournament, and they are competing for their first WNBA championship. But with that said, the AP has named its WNBA award winners. The WNBA will announce its awards over the next few weeks as we are in the playoffs. But the AP Player of the Year was Breanna Stewart by 1 vote over Aja Wilson. Rookie of the Year, Aaliyah Boston. Comeback Player of the Year, Brittany Griner and Nafisia Collier. Most Improved Player, Satoa Sabali. All Rookie Team, Aaliyah Boston was joined by Grace Berger, Dorka Yunus, Diamond Miller, Jordan Hairston, and Haley Jones of Atlanta. And the All WNBA Team, Breanna Stewart, Aja Wilson, Thomas was on there, as well as Jewel Lloyd, Chelsea Gray, and the second team was Jackie Young, Sabrina Ionescu, Orike Bumawale, Sabali, and Collier. So, we're going to skip it and say, who do you think is going to be Player of the Year from the WNBA?
I mean, New York was great all year. Obviously, Breanna Stewart's a heck of a talent. I don't know how you don't give this to Aja Wilson. I mean, they don't just dominate. They've got a 3-headed monster that goes out there and puts people to shame. But you're hanging up 50. She's the picture of efficiency. Works on the defensive end. So does Breanna Stewart. I mean, there's no wrong answer here, but for my money, it's tough to go against Aja Wilson for this one.
All right. So first round of the playoffs will be ending shortly. The Las Vegas Aces and Chicago Sky. We have the Aces winning. The New York Liberty against our local Washington Mystics. We have the Liberty winning. Connecticut Sun versus Minnesota Lynx. We have the Sun winning. The only one was Dallas versus Atlanta. Gee, I'll let you be the call. Who will win, Dallas and Atlanta, for the right to lose to Las Vegas next week?
See, I thought Connecticut and Minnesota would be the toss-up in the air. Dallas has been that clear-cut third best team all season. They struggle, and every now and then, well, they struggle in games, but they usually find a way to turn it on, get the W, and they've been pretty solid in that third slot all season. So I definitely see them advancing to get swept next round. So, we'll take a look and see how that goes. I was hoping the Mystics would put a little pressure on New York. Didn't go that way in game one, but we'll see what happens game two.
Yeah, well, as we wait for the Las Vegas Aces New York Liberty final, we want to close with a couple of items this week. One, we just started this a couple of weeks ago, and it's getting very, very positive momentum, so we're excited about that. Check out our Monday motivational video for student athletes across the country, where my goal is to set their week off to a positive note in terms of giving them some academic and athletic advice, meaning student athletes. So make sure you subscribe and check it out and share it with the student athletes, coaches, and teachers in your life, and administrators as well. We also have merch to close the show. The fundraiser will end in a few weeks. If you go to www.ckasafeproject.itemorder.com, please get yourself some fresh CKA merchandise, as well as Odd Coaches podcast merchandise. A portion of the proceeds will go to getting Fonda Balance books for high school student athletes at underserved high schools. So again, looking forward to people taking their pictures and hashtag CKA family. As we close, G, any final thoughts this week in the world of basketball, sir?
Just 1 week closer to the NBA season. I'll be watching the WNBA playoffs, but we're just going to hold off for that final. We all know it's going to happen. But, just keep on matriculating towards that NBA regular season.
Okay, Hank Stram. All right. So on behalf of Chief Sumner, my man, I am Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Till next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.cksaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@cksaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.cksaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches podcast.